The Starlight Lounge presents An Evening with the Progressive Box.
Oh, what a great audience. Let's dim the lights for this next one. Oh, too much. There it is. Gotta get things just right. Like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay, and we help you find coverage options that fit your budget. And now, the mood is right. Wait, the lights are back on again. Trudy, can you? And now it's completely dark.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Blog Talk Radio.
What up, though? It's your boy Willie Styles. Joining me tonight is thank you all for joining us tonight. Actually, I got Clint on the line. Clint, you want to say hello to the people?
What's going on, good people? It's your boy Clint. You know, the men take over tonight. We're going to do the damn thing. We got some good topics lined up for y'all tonight, so ready for y'all to engage with us.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to this conversation. As always, you're joining GFT Radio Show. Again, like Clint said, this is the fellas takeover. It's just going to be me, him, and hopefully Damien will join us later, as well as any one of you who want to join in the call. We are going to be taking calls starting around 10:15. Clint, why don't you hit them with the number for me, please?
The phone number is 657-383-1155. That's 657-383-1155. Join the conversation.
Yep, and don't forget, you can always tweet us at GFT_radio. You can always join the conversation via Twitter or whatever your favorite Twitter client is, as well as always leave comments on our blog talk or on our radio show website, gftradioshow.com. You can always catch our replays every day of the week. They're free. They're available all the time. blogtalkradio.com/GFT Radio Show, or on your favorite on-demand stations such as Google Play Music, YouTube, Apple iTunes, or even ask your favorite device to play our show, GFT Radio Show podcast, and it will play our replays. So, and before I forget, always look out, for us, support our show. We have T-shirts, we have all types of clothing, merchandise, hoodies as well. So it's about to get cold out there. Make sure you get your hoodies with GFT Radio Show logos on it, sayings, all that good stuff. You can get that at teespring.com/stores/GFT Radio. All right, I think I got the particulars out the way. Right. Definitely do that. Definitely support our show. We'll support you all. We'll definitely be, hitting you with hard-hitting topics and things that you want to talk about. One last thing is we're going to be, again, discussing fathers raising daughters. So we got a few different topics lined up tonight. And, let's go ahead and get to it. Clint, why don't you give the people a little background on why we chose this? I mean, besides the fact that we're both fathers to beautiful daughters.
Yeah, that was the main reason. We're both fathers and to daughters. And, first of all, as always, the conversation in the black community about the lack of fathers being involved or lack of fathers being there, which, I think is a narrative, but I think it's really overblown because when you do statistics, when you look at certain different statistics from CDC and all that, they'll tell you that, the FBI Bureau, they'll tell you that, the black fathers are actually one of the most involved, if not the most involved, of all ethnicities and races in their kids' lives growing up. The discrepancy is that most black men aren't in the home, but that doesn't mean they are in the lives of their children. So, that's one thing I wanted to that sparked the conversation. And then I wanted to be specific with daughters because, I'm a father. All I have just one child, and I have a daughter. And I noticed, it's in this era of social media and technology, everything is upfront and abrasive, from the TV to the, like I said, social media to the, just the things they watch on like YouTube and stuff like that. It's a little bit more advanced than when we grew up. Everything is right there in their face. So, we have to be a little bit more cautious. Yeah, we have to be a little bit more cautious and be more aware, more proactive, and paying attention to what they're viewing, what they're seeing, the type of conversations they're having. And with me, with the daughters, and with this, with the environment that we're in now, we got the Me Too movement and stuff like that. I notice it's harder, like for fathers to talk to their daughters, because there's certain things that like we're different. Men and women are different. So when we talk to our daughters, it's different. I got younger brothers and sisters, so it was different talking to my brothers and talking to my sisters. The conversations are different. You feel me? The tone of the conversation is different. It's the same level of love, but it's that difference there. So when we're talking to our daughters, I really brought up this topic not just to give my opinion, but also to get different other people's opinions and the way how they handle things. Like, me and my daughter literally. Yeah. Exactly. And it's so crazy. Like, me and my daughter yesterday really was her first day starting school, regular school. And yesterday we actually really had our first real dad-daughter blow up, to where, she had went to a little temper tantrum after school and all that. So it's like how I deal with that. Yeah. So, my daughter's young, she's about to be 6. So it's like, she's growing up. So I know your daughter is older, so you can give me advice on when they become teenagers or preteens and stuff like that, what to look for, signs to look for, and changing and behaviors. You feel me? I just wanted to open up that line of communication.
Yeah, definitely feel you on that, brother. It's this ain't gonna be this. I know this is the first, but it ain't gonna be the last. So, and I know Damon has even younger kids. His 2 daughters, I believe, are 4 and 2. So I definitely feel y'all on just trying to get used to it, learn. Like you said, the interactions. I mean, the interactions themselves are definitely different between father and daughter versus father and son, brothers and sisters, or brothers and all that kind of stuff. Everything, like you said, when there's gender differences, when there's differences and how you approach things, that can definitely make a difference. For me, like you said, I'm a little more experienced in terms of the daughters. I still feel like I'm always learning, but I have 4 daughters. My oldest is 26, and then my youngest is just turned 14. So, like you said, it's been a definite learning. I mean, I wouldn't say uphill battle. Sometimes it feels like it, but sometimes it's but it's also it's that reward of knowing that you're impacting a life and seeing how they grow. I mean, my second oldest daughter, I mean, she's been through so many different things, positive mostly, but a couple of negative things, and she's it's been watching her grow and mature and try to learn how to navigate. It's always been interesting, but seeing that influence that her mother and I have had on her, it's definitely prevalent, and it's always good to see that when they've listened or when they've picked up on what you said or what you put down. So definitely, keep pushing your teaching, your motivation, that kind of thing. But getting back to what you're saying, I mean, with school, especially that first day, first year, you're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of because she's going to start encountering different people, different situations, and luckily, at that age, I would say, even though this is a drama-filled time in this world, I think, that young age right now, they're still, the worst thing you're going to see is that temper tantrum because, maybe she's tired or she's, had a unusual day for herself. She's not used to it, so she's not sure how to interact with the other kids, or, she may have an issue with a kid and she doesn't know how to express herself about that or express what's going on. So, you're going to see those ups and downs. But, when they get a little older, they get in 3rd, 4th grade, especially I think once they get to those older grades where the, other kids are really going to show their ass. I mean, that's when, you kind of have to really be on top of it because, your kids are going to do one of two things. They're either going to conform, either to the positives or negatives at school, they're going to be outcasted and you have to deal with that problem, or, there's that in between. So, with them trying to fit in versus them, being pushed aside versus them, being the ringleaders. You gotta always be on the lookout for what place your kid has. And I think for girls, it's more. I would definitely say, at least in my experience, it's been more prevalent. My experience is also low when it comes to boys because I only have 2 boys, but from what I've seen with my boys is that, the girls, they seem to always have it rougher because it's an emotional time for them and it's an emotional thing. And women, if y'all listening, don't think I'm trying to just purely put it on y'all emotions, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And the thing is that, when you're dealing with so many different personalities and personality, traits, attributes, you're going to have more ups and downs with your girls than you're going to have with those boys, because a lot of things are going to slide past the boys. I mean, I had to, admit, even for myself when I was growing up, I was kind of like, not dumb, but what's the word? Like you're oblivious to everything going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff is happening. Yeah. It just slides past you. And your boys are going to let that stuff slide, where girls are paying attention to everything. And then they also expect other people to empathize with their situation. And I forgot what it's called. I believe it's called something like internal audience or external audience, something like that. Girls have this thing where they think you have a microscope pinned in on them, and you're always knowing exactly what's happening to them at every moment of their life, regardless if you're around or not. You don't have to be around, but they have this like psychological thing where people around them are paying attention to them at all times. And what it causes them to do is assume that you know why they feel the way they do, or you know why they're having a bad day, or you know who their friends are, or you know what their situations have been from one aspect to another, regardless if you've been told about it or not, or if you've witnessed it or not. They feel like you know. And because they feel that way, they feel like you should be able to empathize at all times with them and with their situation. So you always got to be kind of prepared for that part of it, because there's going to be times your daughter going to come home and she's going to be throwing names at you of kids you ain't never met before in your life. She's going to be telling you about situations that you have no clue what the hell she. Exactly, and it's because they got that audience, that internal audience, where they think you know. She seriously thinks you know. She probably doesn't even know why she thinks you know. She just knows that she thinks you know what's going on. So you have to be able to kind of maneuver that. You got to figure out how you want to approach it. Like me, the way I approach it, I literally just listen. I'm a good listener. Definitely. Pride myself in that, and it helps, especially with the daughters, being able to listen. And
that's something
for me. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's something I wanted to get into, because one thing I never want to happen is my daughter to be afraid to come talk to me about anything. I think we spoke about that before on the podcast. And so when I'm talking to her, even at this young age, I always tell her she don't have to be scared of daddy reaction or what have you. But I had to explain to her yesterday that now I expect, you know what I mean, you're getting older. So certain things that were allowed or expected of you or not expected of you before, it won't be the same now. Now I expect something different. You feel me? I don't want to continue. I don't want to continue to tell you to have to clean your room. I don't want to continue. You know, I know it's a continuous thing. I almost have to tell you, but it isn't like before. It's like, all right, go clean your room, daddy will help you. Now is, no, you made that mess. You got to learn to start taking responsibility of cleaning up your mess. You feel me? If something breaks, or if I'm telling you not to do something, don't do that. Don't play with that like that. Because if you play with it like that.
Yeah, you want to set ground rules. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to set ground rules. So now, like, actually, and I think she's kind of, that was that temper tantrum was for yesterday. She's kind of rebelling against that because she still thinks she's daddy's baby. Like, you'll always be daddy's baby, but you're not a baby anymore. You feel me?
Right.
I can't,
you know, I think we got Damon on the line now.
Oh, what's up, Damon?
I think we got Damon on the line.
Hey, it's me.
Damon?
Yep, it's me.
What's going on,
What up, sir?
brother?
What up, sir?
And I'm just taking this advice in for my trials and tribulations for next couple upcoming years, which y'all going through.
Yeah,
you know, I'm on the other end of the spectrum where I got a 5 and 2-year-old, and I'm just taking in the knowledge.
Yeah, me and your daughter about your oldest daughter about the same age as my daughter. You feel me? Like I said, she just started school, and you know, I want to establish, like I was saying, like yesterday was like me and her first real blow up that we ever had. I mean, like,
do we have the same daughter? Because I said, do we have the same daughter? Because I had the same issue yesterday myself.
Yeah, and it was weird to me because even like I even had to get her mother involved. You understand? And it was really because, you know, like I said, and we talking about in the social media age and the technology age, she's so used to, you know what I mean, the TV, my phone, watching YouTube, watching her little kid shows on my phone, and I'm like, well, now in order to do that, you have to do certain things. Now I'm not just doing it just because. You can't just get my phone just because. All right, go clean your room, or you got to do this work. You know what I mean? This because your learning just don't stop once school over. I don't play that. Like, I like to teach her stuff. I read to her. I have her write things down. You know, sight words and all that stuff. I have my own stuff outside of the schoolwork that I require her to do. And now that she's seeing that, she's like, wow. You feel me? Yesterday she just really did. She wasn't beat. So to the point to where it's like she refused to listen. You know what I mean? Wouldn't get up. So, and it was angering me. I mean, like, let me tell you, like, everybody that know me know, like, I don't play like that. You feel me? Like, I don't. So I had to realize, like, this is my daughter. Like, I'm gonna be honest. If she was a boy, that situation would have went real different. Situation would have went very different. And even when I got her mom on the phone, and her mom talked to her, and her mom was getting after her, telling her what was what. When me and her mom got back on the phone, her mom know me, so she like, and I told her, I'm like, well, she lucky she's a girl. And her mom was like, yeah, I know. God bless you with your girl to soften you up. You feel me? She's like, she know. You know what I mean? Because Lord knows that was a boy. Like, ask my little brother, I will yoke you clean on up. Like, don't play with me like that. You feel me? But
right.
a little girl is like, with me, it's different. And I mean, like when we first found out we was having a girl, I told my my child's mother, like, you really gonna have to, you know what I mean, that strong, that stern discipline, you know what I mean. Like I ain't opposed to spankings and none of that, but I told her, like, that's on you. You gonna have to do that, because I knew, like, with a girl, I'm not gonna be able to do that. You feel me? Like, it's just not. I feel
you there. It's like I've always been stern. I've always been strict about certain things, well, a lot of things, and I've had to, I guess, adapt. You know, especially having so many girls. I definitely never shied away from passing out a butt whooping. You know, that never fazed me, because my thing is, you my child, regardless, boy, girl, or whatever. You gonna get the punishment that you deserve for what you did. You know, but then I also had to evolve the way I punished, right? Because I know when I was coming up as a kid, that was that was the number one punishment. You do something wrong, your butt getting whooped. You know, you act up, you getting some kind of physical punishment. And you know, so I think I approached it pretty much the same way when I first started off, and then I kind of had to start evolving it, just because, one, it was like, for certain kids that I was raising, because between my children and then my godchildren, I raised a couple of them too, and it was like, it wasn't working. You know what I mean? It's like, no matter how much you whoop certain kids, they don't care. They just gonna keep doing whatever they want to do. So I had to evolve, and you know, and I think in the long run, certain things did pan out better because of different approaches for different kids. I mean, like my youngest daughter, I bet you, man, if I act like I'm about to, you know, do something like I'm gonna grab a belt, or I'm gonna be mad, or I'm gonna even say something sternly, she already trying to figure out how she gonna fix it. You know what I mean? How she gonna do what she need to do. You know, with my son, I don't even have to say anything. He just kind of on it. You know what I mean? My middle daughter, she was kind of on the fence. It depended on what was going on and who was around. You know, she picked and chose what she wanted to do, But it was like everybody had their own personality. You know what I mean? And I think that it was mainly figuring out what worked for each kid that kind of helped me develop the best way to approach them. And I think, and I always, you know, recommend to people, you know, figure out what your kid values, because that's what's going to help you to push your agenda the most. Like you said, with the phone situation, if your kid values that game, or values that phone time, or values that TV time, then you have to build up punishments around that. You have to build up discipline around that, as well as, you know, whatever else they may have, you know, whatever else that may affect them. You know, one of my coworkers, he was saying how park time for his daughter, I think his daughter's 2 or 3 years old, if she, you know, if she knows that if she don't do, you know, whatever her little chore is, like if she got to pick up toys or something, if she don't do that, she don't get park time. So, you know, as soon as her mom say, hey, you know what time it is, she gets on it. She takes care of her toys, or she takes care of her room, so she can get her park time. So you got to figure out what works for your kid, and then you have to learn how to evolve that, of course, because part time ain't gonna work when your kid's 12 years old. You know, sometimes it does. some kids, you know, but you know what I'm saying. You got to evolve, right, with the time. Like, you know, right now my 14-year-old, you know, phone time is her actual phone and her data and her minutes, you know, so, you know, telling her, oh, you're not going to get this done, turning that phone off. My middle daughter, it was that computer. When she acted up or got bad grades in school, that internet went off on her computer, so she would turn it right back around. So, you know, you got to figure out what works best. You know, and I think that's the biggest thing. And again, it's all about listening. It's about listening to your kid, listening, understanding what they doing. You know, why they're doing it, what they like, what they don't like. You know, because you can approach it a certain way. I mean, like my oldest son, he was the type of kid. Only thing he liked was video games. Nothing else affected him. Nothing else. I mean, you could say, oh, you can't go outside, or you can't go to this event with us. He didn't care. But as soon as you took that video game away, straightened up. So, you know, you got to have that. You got to figure that out.
My situation is we're going through a process. I mentioned months ago that we're going through an adoption. It's finalized now. So we're trying to learn each other. You know, the 5-year-old, my wife and myself. We're trying to feel each other out. What works for our relationship. We're also in the process of trying to find out if she's capacity for learning, like if she's delayed or not. Like she just had a test done today to see what kind of special needs she might have, or if she does need special needs. We don't know the capacity of that. We know she needs speech therapy. We got her some glasses yesterday, but other than that, we don't know anything just yet. And now the school has to get involved and do their assessment as well. So trying to deal with somebody with special needs, I know Sunny, she can attest to this. Disciplining is going to be a little different and maybe difficult at times as well, because you don't want to just, I guess, severely discipline. You know, sometimes spankings or whatever attest to what they for them. You know, if they don't understand anything, it doesn't merit a severe whooping all the time. You know, everybody has different, like you and Willie was saying that different ways of disciplining to get the point across. So we're trying to learn that out. Me, I had some different types of discipline for her, like maybe doing stuff that she doesn't like physical activity, like push-ups, jumping jacks, standing in the corner in a stance for, basketball drills. She doesn't like doing that. Maybe that would drill a point across for me. She doesn't like doing those type of things. Sometimes she learns, and sometimes she still doesn't quite get it. So I'm trying to find different ways of avenues to drill the point home. But maybe she won't get it because maybe she has special needs, like I said before. Just trying to come across that balance.
Yeah, I feel you there. I mean, that definitely adds another layer of complexity to the situation. And like we were saying, there's so many different things that makes raising children in general, but like we said, going back to raising daughters, and especially for men, is there's different things that makes things more complex. If you're the type of father like Clint is, who's like, hey, I can lay down the law, but I'm not about to do the discipline. Or if you're like me, where you're like, I'm gonna do this and do this, but I need to understand how to do that. It's like there's, you definitely have to figure out what works best for you, what you're good at, what you're not, and when you realize there's certain things that you lack, then you definitely have to, make accommodations for that, and definitely commend you, Clint, for recognizing early on you had to get mom involved to make sure that there's no lack of good discipline all the way around. The other thing I know is that dealing with the outside pressures or dealing with the outside influences is important to keep in mind. I think we kind of touched on that earlier, but that was one of the biggest aspects that we wanted to discuss today, was talking about dealing with the social media era, dealing with how other kids affect your kid, and how that how are you going to deal with what they call it, with the drama that comes with with not only social media, but just in school, all types of things like that. And I think that understanding what your kid can handle is part of it. I know my child, or all my kids have different sensitivity levels. You know, my youngest daughter and my second oldest daughter, they both are very sensitive to outside influences. They're very sensitive, you know, emotionally to certain things. So I know that, you know, trying to get them uplifted, you know, about their own self-esteem, and get them the type of you know, motivation that they need to keep them going is always the biggest thing. You know, making sure that they understand, hey, you know, mom and dad love you. There's people out here who love you. You know, you're a great person. You have these great attributes. You know, building them up. You know, that's what's important. Because it's, I mean, you know, that's the thing. There's so much drama, so much bullying out there. And I know we talked about that before, Clint, with certain situations that have happened with people and their kids.
Yeah. We had. Oh, my bad, Dan.
No, you good. Oh, I was going to say. Oh, go ahead.
My fault. We actually had that discussion. Me and her had that discussion about bullying because she felt like you touched on it earlier. Outside influence and also the opinions of others of her affecting her and how she thinks of herself. So, you know, I had to explain to her, like, because she was upset that I guess somebody else, one of her friends, thought something, called her mean or didn't like the way she talked or something, you know what I mean, and that she was trying to break it down to me, and she felt like she was being bullied, like she was being singled out. So I had to have that conversation with her as well, to where, all right, the opinions of others don't give so much value to the opinions of others about you. You know you. You feel me? You be secure with yourself. You know what I mean? Don't listen to what others think they know about you because they don't really know you. You feel me? And at the same time, you're still learning yourself. You're young. You feel me? You don't even know what you want or who you really want to be. Because you tell me every other day, you tell me something differently about you, who or what you want to be when you grow up. You understand? So don't, you know what I mean? I really had to have that conversation with her yesterday. Like, you feel me? Stop listening to what other people say about you. You know what I mean? Don't take so much stock into it. And then when you on the social media, you know, like, or on your little, like she, you know, I got the little child protector. She can only watch certain things on my YouTube channel, and it's the kids stuff. and I still explain to her, like, that's entertainment. Don't think that's the way you're supposed to act. You feel me? How they interacting on the show. It's a show to entertain you. You know, even some of them kids be having their parents and the conversations they be having with their parents, you know, I wouldn't necessarily have with you. You feel me? It's a little bit too much freedom. But at the same time, you have to understand that's TV. That's entertainment. You know what I mean? Daddy is daddy. That's what I had to tell her yesterday. Daddy's not your friend. You feel me? Don't. So our interaction is not going to be like what you see on that TV. So don't get discouraged. Don't think any less of you or us. Our relationship don't compare us, and don't let nobody compare you to them. And I mean, we literally had that conversation yesterday.
Right.
I mean, go ahead, Dan.
No, I was going to say that, so yesterday we had the issue of paying attention and listening to your teachers. We already told her, pay attention to your teachers, pay attention. So day 2 of this issue of being in school, we get a progress report home saying that she's not listening, yada, yada, yada. So we're trying to deal with her accordingly. You know, we don't want to be too harsh or whatever. So I don't think it merit a discipline like that. So I made her do jumping jacks and push-ups, like I said before. But you know, since we're co-parenting, we're both her parents. I let my wife talk to her after I finish disciplining her. You know, see if she understands what she did wrong. You know, to see if she really truly understood. You know, she's answered everything fine. You know, she understood that what she did wrong, that she was supposed to pay attention to the teacher, but she can't quite articulate her words correctly or answer. It takes a long time for her to answer a simple question for us that we think is be simple, but for her it might be a little bit more difficult. So we try to be a little bit more patient in that regards. So after my wife talked to her for a second, we both agreed that she go stand in the corner since she understood where her actions. She was defiant at first. She said, I don't want to. And she said, it's not up for discussion. You do what we say. This is what we're talking about right now. The teacher said that you're not paying attention. She said, no. I tell you, the incarnation of my mother came out in my hand. I went back over there and I tapped her on her butt. Not hard, just to give her a little scare, like, hey, you don't talk back to your parents. No, she act like I beat her with a stick. You know, she started falling down and hyperventilating, like, like, no, like, I didn't even hit you that hard. What are you doing? I just tapped you. So she just made me even more mad by doing this. I'm like, what? You know, you don't tell your mom no. I don't even tell your mother no. You get upstairs and get in that corner. You know what I'm saying? Just, just like, she's so. It's still one of those things that we're still trying to figure things out. Apparently, she's not getting the hint. So I might have to try something else, or.
Yeah, she's definitely testing the waters. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what it is. She's trying to see how far you can go, and I think that's what my daughter did to me. I think we experienced the same thing. She tried to try me to see how far, and then before I knew it, she was soliciting all types of apologies because she knew, don't you ever go that far with me again. Like it was a real deal. So I understand exactly. It was basically, like you said, we basically talk about the same daughter because we had the same exact, the same exact thing going on. Also, now, let me talk about this stuff because after that, like I said, we continued to talk, and what I did learn is how much she's paying attention. Like we all know our kids pay attention to us, and we have to watch what we do and all that.
Right.
But I realized yesterday how much she's paying attention. And, when we was talking about school, it was like she was talking about her teacher. Like, my teacher nice. She's real nice. But I wish she was my complexion or looked like me. I'm like, what you mean? She's like, I just wish she looked like me. Like, you wish you had a black teacher? She was like, yeah. Because I also wish there was more students in the school that looked like me. I was like, what you mean, more black students? She was like, yeah, there's some, but, I wish it was more that looked like me. I was like, what made you say that? She was like, that's what you always said. She was like, you know what I mean? That's what you like. You feel me? You said I should have a black teacher. Be teaching me stuff more about, because I always preach to her, you know what I mean? And it comes from her watching a lot of the stuff she watched. It wasn't, except for this show called Nia and Ellie, where it's two little black girls and the black mom. Most of the other shows are just white kids, And so I always like, nah, baby, watch something that represents you. You know what I mean? Don't pick I'm the father. Don't pick the white white dog baby. Pick the black dog baby. You feel me? That's me when we go when I take her shopping and stuff. There always have to be something for her to see pride in herself, her skin color, and what have you. And I didn't realize until yesterday, until she told me that. You feel me? Unsolicited. I didn't ask her that or nothing. She just came out and said it. That, all right, she really listening to me. And she actually said it because she said it because that's what you said. That's what you want. So,
right.
I know. I mean, that's, you feel me? So I was like, wow. That kind of took, it kind of, I didn't know how to feel about it, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, I was happy that you thought that way, but then I'm like, you feel me? Am I right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I went through that, you know, a couple times, especially with my youngest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably had the most influence on her, and she's, you know, she said some things that I know. You know, I even have to ask her. I had, like I said, literally no reason to ask because I know she got it from me. And she only said what she said because of what I've said in the past, or she said what she said because what she's heard her mother say, and you know the viewpoints and the I guess the feelings, you know, seem to be genuine in the way she presents it, but I know there's influence, and you know, like you said, it feels good in a way because you're like, well. That means they're paying attention. She's picking up what I'm putting out. But then, like you said, you kind of take a step back, like, man, should I be having that much influence that they spit word for word things that I say and put them out there as their own, you know? And it's like, man, am I unduly influencing my kid, you know, without allowing them to have a mind of their own, you know? So now. What I've done is there's certain things that I won't budge on anyway because I'm like, you know, I want my kid to feel this way or I want them to share feeling with me, but you know, there's some things that I try to take the approach. I'll approach them like, hey, I'm teaching you this, but I need you to take for yourself something out of it, and I want you to do your homework on it, and I want you to do your research on it. I want you to, you know, understand why you feel this way. My kids know I'm that way with religion. You know, I take them every Sunday to service, and you know they go to the meetings and they do their Bible study and all that kind of thing. But I explain to them all the time, like, this is what I think, this is what I agree with, this is what I don't agree with, this is what I want you to, you know, to take from it, but this is, you know, this is where you need to take and do your own research or do your own thing, figure out why it affects you, you know, and, you know, political stuff, you know, because I'm not a big political person as it is, so that's another one I really like, hey, you know, I just try to put in their minds, you know, things that I feel, you know, either morally or socially about, and say, hey, this is how I feel. This should be going on, but you know, all the rest of the stuff you gotta filter out the noise and figure out what's right and what's wrong for you. You know, and it's a hard lesson to teach, at least in my opinion, it is because you see that influence and you know that they're watching you. They're watching you. They want to see how you react to things. They want to see what you think of things, you know. I mean, I've even quizzed my daughter one time before where I'm like, what do you think about this? And she kind of looked at me like, I ain't never heard you talk about it, so I don't know what I think about it. You know what I mean? She literally kind of gave me that look. You know, I mean, I can read it off her face, and I'm like, yeah, I know you probably never really heard us talk about this. Or, you know, what do you think? You know, she had to figure out for herself, and you know. And that's when I think she really got an aha moment. Like, you know, sometimes I do gotta just figure it out, you know. And I think that's what's important is not to feel like you need to, everything that you do has to be so spot on. But if you can explain to your child, you can get them to understand. You know, and even my kid is not going to understand everything that I take a step back from and tell them to figure this out. But, you know, a lot of times it's going to be things that you really need to make sure that they're making that decision for them. It's like, you know, you want them to have a personal opinion. You know, you want them to be able to think for themselves. That's the thing. It's critical thinking because just because they follow you and you're like, oh, you know, I know I'm right about this. So if they follow me, we good. But if you take away their ability to critically think, then you're harming them more than you're helping them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought one thing is, like I said, we're in the era we in. I feel like kids are more advanced than what we were because of all the information, the technology that's at your fingertips now. You know, and they're dealing with things at a quicker pace, I feel like, than our generation did. You feel me? I feel like everything's a little bit quicker now. So, you know, I want her to, like you said, I want her to be able to critically think and be prepared for that, but I also want her to slow down a little bit. You know, because I feel like the kids are growing up too fast nowadays, in my opinion, because of all this being bombarded with all this information, and because a lot of this information our generation is just getting as well, and we're still trying to sift through it ourselves and trying to figure out what's real and what's not, because a lot of this information wasn't readily available to our mothers, our fathers, our aunts and uncles, you know what I mean, grandmothers. So now it's like when you, as a parent, getting all this information, everybody know I love to read, I love to, you know what I mean, learn new things, continuously learn. To cipher through that and to give that information to my child.
Did you say weed or we?
Read.
Oh, read. Oh, okay.
You know, so I love to read a lot. So, you know, when I'm talking and she's around, or I'm talking amongst my friends, we having these deep convos, and I know she's listening. You feel me? Like Willie was stating, I want her to learn the critical. I want her to also understand that Daddy can be wrong. You know what I mean? That's one thing I had to learn as a child growing up by my parents. Your parents not always right. Like, we may have a particular stance now on whatever subject, whatever it may be, but 5 years later, gaining more information, understanding, and wisdom, we might have a different stance. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be so rigid in my thinking. I want her to be rigid in her thinking. You know, the main thing I want her to just to be proud of her and her heritage, her ethnicity, her background. But as far as everything else, you know, I want her to understand that, you know, I'm going to give you this information how I see it at this moment, but still understand that I can be wrong. Daddy can be wrong. And you have to, you know, there's going to be certain things that she's going to have, like you said, they just have to figure out. She's going to have to get that aha moment herself. You know, and I feel like in this generation, with the information coming so quickly and so, you know what I mean, at such a massive rate, that, you know, it's kind of hard. It's going to be like, it's better, but at the same time, it's going to be hard to cipher through all of it. You know what I mean? Like you say, you go to church. Her mom takes her to church every Sunday, unless she's with me and she don't want to go. You know, I'm not really into that. That's not me. Now, I mean, that was one of me and her mom's biggest, but we got different ideology. I don't never, you know, unless she asks me, I won't never dispute anything she learned. Because I don't feel like she's ready for that on a massive scale. If she's not ready for that whole conversation. Like, say if me and you, Willie, we would have a debate about whatever, you feel me? Like, she's not ready to really conceive and conceptualize that conversation yet. You know what I mean? But unless she asks me something specific, I'll give her my opinion on it if I can. If I can't, I'm going to just leave it alone. And I'll be like, we're going to have to come back to that later, baby, because right now, I don't have the particular understanding of it. And if I know I don't, I know you're not going to be able to understand it. So, you know what I mean? I let her mom, like, and I think her, like, she know I don't do the holidays and all that type stuff. So, and as she's getting older, she's starting to get hit to a few things. She's starting to ask me why a lot. Why do you believe in this? Why don't you believe in that? and those conversations, because it'd be difficult, because when you think you have an understanding of something, you really don't until you have to explain it to somebody.
Right.
And I feel like, you know what I mean? So it's like she forces me sometimes to really, all right, let me go back and do my research and understand why I feel this way, so I can break it down to her in the simplest terms. If I can't break it down to a 6-year-old, then I really don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right,
if that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like we're in that stage.
I feel you. Like I say, you definitely realize that once you have to really explain the why. It's one thing. It's one thing to just preach to somebody. It's another thing to actually have to teach somebody. So that, like you said, it's definitely two different things. So you gotta definitely put some more thought into it. You gotta get some more understanding. And I mean, because I remember the first time I tried to explain, why I felt a certain way about something, and I was just like, man, to my daughter, and I'm like, man, like I really don't know what to say. I just know what I was told, and I just rolled with it, But you don't want to say that to your kid, You don't want them to just roll with shit. You want them to be able to be like, you know what, this is. I feel this way strongly because I've seen these results. So I'm saying, I have this feeling behind it because it means this much to me, or whatever the case may be. But to just roll with something, you be like, dang, like now I got to question why I feel this way, So that's it definitely makes a huge mark. One thing I wanted to get into before it gets too late in the conversation, something off of the outline we were talking about was dealing with rape culture, and how you're dealing with that with your daughter. This I mean, and this also lends to dealing with how do you have conversations about sex and relationships with your kid as well. And I think that this was one of those hard conversations that has to be had. I mean, I recently just had to have I mean, it wasn't a direct rape culture conversation, but I've had to have a conversation about, I mean, basically like the Me Too situation, right, with my daughter. Mm-hmm. And and my son too, but my daughter was the most important thing. I was trying to put some emphasis behind some things with her. So basically, wanted to get y'all opinion on how, or I mean, I know it's gonna be, well, that's what those was. Damon probably won't have to have for a little while, but I know especially with your daughter going to school, I'm sure you got some things in your mind that you need to have a conversation with her about. So what's your plans on approaching that?
Already, like my daughter's a girly girl. She like skirts, I mean, and all that type of stuff, and dresses, and she'll get a little jeans and stuff on and stuff like that, and like to play rough, but she more of a girly girl. And the first thing I always explain to her, all right, pay attention to yourself. You have to look out for yourself. You got on a skirt, you got to understand, and like, how they tell us. First, I want to get to how they tell us. You feel me? Rape culture. Don't blame the girl the way she dressed. The boy shouldn't do this and that. And we had this conversation before. And a deviant is a deviant. You feel me? You can preach to the choir, but if he's still a deviant, we can't help that. What I mean? I've been in this class with dudes that was, they was looking up under the girls' dresses. You know what I mean? Be like, nah, son, chill, don't do that. And then still do it anyway. You feel me? So if somebody gonna do something, you really can't stop them. So I tell her the first thing you gotta do is protect herself. So wearing dresses and stuff like that, some little boys are always gonna try to catch you. From this moment on, you feel me? Till you're a grown woman and forever, there's always gonna be some boy or some man trying to cop a feel, cop a look. It is what it is. I went through it in school. I've seen it. And if other dudes sit here and lie and say that they didn't, do the little 1-2 grab butt or touch the button, run, and stuff like that. That happens. You feel me?
Right.
That that's part of that rape culture starting at a young age. You feel me? So we had to tell our girls to protect themselves first. Don't be so friendly. I tell her that. Don't be, she like to be friends with everybody. And she's too accepting. You can't be accepting of everybody in every situation because you'll catch yourself in a situation you're not prepared for. No, it's not your fault. But you have to protect yourself. You have to put up certain safeguards. I always tell her, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, especially at this age, if you know daddy, I always tell her, if you know daddy wouldn't approve of it, don't do it. Or don't allow nobody else to do it to you. You understand? Daddy don't like nobody touching you, putting their hands on you, all of that. Don't allow it. Don't allow it.
Right.
Don't, you control that. But I don't care if I get a call that you had to punch on some boy or whatever because he was touching you. You had to scratch him and do whatever you had to do because he was touching. I'll come and explain it. No, you feel me? We don't do that. We don't allow that. We don't allow that. I can't protect you at all times. You can't be protected. You got to learn, like some of these, you have to learn to protect yourself. You have to learn how to protect yourself in certain situations by avoiding certain situations, by avoiding, certain temptations. Or allowing.
And karate.
Yeah. I teach my daughter how to box. I really do. I really do, to the point that now she's like, Dad, put your hands up. You feel me? She start punching my hand because, it's I want her to be able to defend herself, but I also want her to be able to think before it gets to that situation. All right, you know what I mean? Should I really be this close to this boy or allow this boy to be close to me? If you know what I mean, don't go in where you the only girl and there's nothing but boys. Like, avoid that situation, especially if no adult is around. That's really watching them. Don't you feel me? Because that'll be a perfect case of a situation where they be trying to cop a feel or do this on the sneak, do certain things on the sneak tip. I've seen it. I've seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've been a part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Been that little boy.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, right. I'd say, yeah, we've been there. And luckily we grew up and out of that and realized the problems that stem from all that. I mean, when I was younger, I went through so much now. Some things I talk about, some things I don't. But I went through situations that you see things and you have things happen to you, or you participate in things, and you it's not right, and that there's something wrong with it. And like you said, you have to teach your kids to recognize when things aren't right or when things are something wrong with something, and step away from it. And so I think that a lot of times having to explain these things, that's the best. I think the best defense is to say, what. All gloves off, everything on the table. You got to learn this. You got to learn, what to look out for. You got to learn, what these people have strategies on. I mean, like you said, in on the playground, some boys smack you on the butt. You go tell. You go. Don't allow this. Don't feel like you have to be the victim. That you can't do something about it, but also recognize that it could happen, and also, like you said, with the whole situation with the field copping and this and that, the strategies, that's what I was having a conversation with my daughter about, was because, what happened with, I don't know if y'all saw what happened with Ariana Grande and that, and that preacher at the funeral, at Aretha Franklin funeral, and I was having a conversation with this. With these people at the I forgot where we were at. We were somewhere, and I was having a conversation with some other people, and we were talking about it. So my daughter comes up, and it had reminded me right there. I'm like, look, somebody want to hug you, especially just some random. I mean, it could be a man or a woman, because like we've had that conversation before, Claire. Women molest women too, and just as much as men do. Nobody needs to hug you up under your arms. You know what I mean? Like they keep their arms right above your shoulders or at your neck height. I was like, if they want to hug your head, let them hug your head. They don't need to have their hand all up under your chest and all that other stuff. The other thing was I think I was telling her about, and I was telling my son too. I was like, if you hug a woman, you wrap one arm around their shoulder and you give them a nice little pat. So you don't need to be all pressed up against them and all that extra stuff. I was like, oh, that's extra. That's stuff you do with somebody that's your significant other. Officially official. None of that extra stuff. And I was like, and then the other thing was like you said, was the how the way, like you said, and not trying to shame a person on how they dress, but when you do dress a certain way, know that you have to protect yourself. Because my daughter loved wearing pencil skirts. She loved, I don't know, she's kind of like riding the fence now. Now she loves jeans, but she used to hate jeans. But she loved pencil skirts, and I had no problem with that. I'd be like, look, you got your little skirt on, that's cute, that's nice. Like, but these pencil skirts are slim. They end right around your knees. It's like you gotta make sure that you cover yourself or whatever. You don't want to have somebody trying to take advantage of that and looking up your skirt and all that kind of stuff. And you also you want to be able to be prepared if you need to. If something pop off, you don't want to be able to say, and that's come from dealing with other females, So it's certain things that you just have to be prepared for, And I tell my son that too. Like, look, your jeans and your pants, they shouldn't be tight. Girls and boys don't need to be looking at your butt and all that kind of stuff. The grown people either. So you need to wear your pants a certain way. You need to wear, you don't need your pants all sagging, hanging off, showing off your butt and showing off everything else. Like, you don't need to do all that. No, you wear your pants like you should, like look like you are somebody. But also, like you said, protecting yourself in this day and age where people don't value other people's, their bodies, their don't value themselves psychologically, and the reason I was gung ho about choosing the words dealing with rape culture was because we see over I don't want to say decades, millennia. I mean, it's been pretty much since the beginning of history that civilization has treated women with undue disrespect, and children and other second class citizens that they consider second class citizens. Have treated us with disrespect of our bodies, of our lives, of our of our minds, everything. They don't value us, they don't respect us. Between victim shaming, victim blaming, bashing, everything, or like I said, treating them like second class citizens. I was reading an article where I was talking about how there's been so many societies that have treated either cultures that they've assimilated or cultures that they've colonialized or colonized rather, or took over, that kind of thing. They've treated them in such a way that using violence and using sexual violence as a weapon, that kind of thing. It's happened repeatedly throughout time. I didn't even think about this when they were saying how, like, even when the United States was a young country and they were trying to colonize different parts of the country how they were, raping Native women, and they said they didn't even consider the rape of a Native woman a crime until the late 19th century. So you're talking, this country has been under,
built off rape culture,
colonization for like the last 1,000 years, and they only just now recognize that in the last 150 years. Of course, black women and black men have been raped and sodomized and everything else over the last 400 or 500 years up until the start of Jim Crow, and then even after that, it's still a problem. And that wasn't recognized as a problem until the early 1900s. So, or crime rather. The crime of rape in the United States wasn't even recognized as a crime unless it was basically between a black man raping a white woman. So white men were not punished to the point they are nowadays. They weren't punished for raping women in general, white women, black women, any women. They weren't punished at those levels, especially if the woman was either, independent, working on her own, or wasn't, underaged. And even if they were underage, they had to been, some society, part of society. So
it comes
or high society, So it was definitely something that was overlooked, and there was always a victim blaming or what they call, victim shaming, situation anytime even an inkling of the word rape came up. So it wasn't even really used, it was definitely
for it.
Exactly, that kind of thing. Or they called it putting them in their place, and that's how this and that's how this society has evolved over the last 600, 700, 800 years, and even before then though,
And one thing we have to do is also, it goes back to the social media and everything. We have to allow kids to be kids, and I think sex, we was talking about sex sells and has it sold us out. We did that show, and it's like the kids are bombarded with so much sexual conversations at such a young age now. We just had to talking about where I posted it on our GFT Radio IG, where they had the the cross-dressing, talking to the kids about being it's like certain conversations
about being a cross-dresser.
Yeah, like kids shouldn't even have to worry about that. Kids shouldn't even have to be, let our kids be kids. But it's so hard in these days and times, and it's like, so we're forced to have those conversations. We're forced to teach our kids to avoid certain conversations, it's almost to the point now, like I want to know what my child's teacher is teaching, almost like you almost have to do a background check on your teachers and stuff like that, or who's around your kids, because you don't know what type of values they have and how it contradicts with yours and how they're going to put that on your kids. And that has a lot to do with rape culture. That has, because I've had teachers to where male teachers, who really didn't care about what the girls was going through. I've seen that as well. You know what I mean? They stuck up for the boys more. I've seen women teachers who stuck up for the girls more. So it creates this you versus them situation. But but one thing I don't want my daughter to grow up too fast. And when it comes to this, this culture of, you feel me, I don't want her to feel like, how should I put it? Just because somebody physically dominant to you that you have to be submissive. You feel me? You're just as strong. You're just as strong mentally, and you could be just as strong physically. But nobody has the right to touch you inappropriately, whether it be a boy or a girl. Nobody has the right to tell you your worth or what you should do to get along. Because that was the conversation I was having with Sonny. It's like it ain't just men. Like a lot of women foster this rape culture as well. There are a lot of women to blame for this rape culture. And I am not talking about the victims. I'm talking about women who put other women in position to be victims. You feel me? I've seen it to where I think I told the story on here before where a friend of mine, she had to call me to come get her because the girl she was with took her to some party, and at the party, the guys expected her to, have sex with them. Because they got that information thought from her friend.
From the other girl, right? Wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Well, I got my friend, she comes, she'll do whatever. You understand? Mm-hmm. And I've seen that situation play over quite a few times. I know quite a few girls who have been in that situation to where a friend brought them along and set them up and put them in an awkward position. So you have to watch your friends too. You know what I mean? It ain't just the boys out here being wolves. It's some of these girls and young ladies out here are wolves in sheep clothing as well. They still on the line?
Yeah, I mean that's
muted. Sorry, I was up there coughing. Yeah.
What do you think about the raising daughters in this rape culture?
It's, from my angle, it's kind of difficult because we've been trying to deal with this girl. Like I said, she's not catching on to things too quickly. She's a little girl. She doesn't know what we know. She still has that innocence about doing a lot of things, like putting your legs up, folding up, as a kid would do, just not realizing that she's wearing a dress or a skirt. We're, as adults, we are aware of our surroundings majority of the time, but she's not. So we have to keep pounding in that influence of, hey, put your legs down, put your skirt down, stop lifting your dress up, when you're outside, and everything isn't one of those play situations where you have that same freedom, which is one of, a sucky situation for girls because they are judged differently than boys, because boys don't have to have that. Boys have that freedom to climb, jump, play anywhere they seem fit because they don't have to worry about, well, now unless you're in Catholic church, any predators coming up to them and touching them inappropriately or trying to, look at them inappropriately. So it's kind of different for girls and boys in that situation, and so
definitely a double standard.
Yeah, I mean, not intentionally. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're just trying to shelter them from evil and from those unwanted predators, and we want them to have their fun, but at the same time,
I mean,
we're trying to
fine
protect
line.
them. Yeah,
it's definitely. My fault. Go ahead, bro.
No. I was just agreeing with Will said. It's a fine line that, unfortunately, that we have to cross and guide them on that fine line as they grow older into maturity and where they can understand their comfort level of how they want to be treated and they seem fit, as they get older.
Mm-hmm. It's one thing I want to impress. I always want to not impress, but I need women to understand, young girls, like this whole thing that we're the same, and we it's a double standard for that for a reason. Like, especially as a young boy, you know, them hormones is raging. You know what I mean? You got 3 man who can tell you. And when you're a young boy, growing up, teenager, you hit puberty, like your hormones are raging. You feel me? So it's like any little slight like that will turn you on or get you excited. You feel me? And anything you see, and it's like you're on go. You're on go. Like some young boys know how to control it. Some young boys have self-control. You feel me? But for the most part, a lot don't. And they don't know how to, you know, in some situations, you feel me, they may know they're wrong. And in other situations, they may not. But their hormones are, don't care. Like, their hormones are raging. You feel me? And then you can't to shut it off. You feel me? It's physiologically and psychologically impossible. You feel me? That's what they're going. That's what we go through. That's what we have to deal with. You know, and with the young lady, like, men are, you know, we primal. Like, you feel me? We see something. We on a hunt. We on the hunt. And
I don't. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No. I said I don't remember from a time growing up where I never liked girls. You know what I'm saying? I've always, from the time I remember, my earliest memory is me liking a girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't remember saying, ew, girls, yucky, yuck. You know, I remember, you know, I didn't know any better. You know, you just, you know, you have that one female cousin that you like. You know, if she's pretty, ooh, I like her. You know what I'm saying? So boys do have that, and they're curious. Like, oh, you know, I don't know what I'm doing type situation. It's innocent. They're just testing the waters to see how life is. Some of it's innocent, and some of them people, you know, with day and age of technology and bad influence of parents and whatever siblings, they're growing up even more so faster.
Yeah. Them hormones raging and all that, and being fed all that information, or not the when you see it so much, you feel me? You see sex everywhere so much, and then your hormones raging. It's like that's a gumbo of trouble.
Yep.
It's a gumbo.
Well, I mean,
of trouble.
And one thing I always have to make sure people keep in mind too. It's not just our boys. You know, we I think we give our girls a huge benefit of the doubt, but you know, we have to be careful of both. You know, we have to give them both the same education about being careful of the opposite sex or even the same sex. You know, that there's other kids out there who have things on their minds that are not agedly appropriate for them, and that they need to sway from and keep focused on things that are important. You know, that's one thing I always push on to my kids is like, you know, to my sons and my daughters. I'm like, hey, you know, just like there's all these boys with these raging hormones, there's some girls out there too with raging hormones too. So y'all need to be, you know, keeping focused on what's important. You need to be focused on school. You need to be focused on your future. You know, don't get all caught up in what this boy or this girl is telling you or what they're trying to get you to do, because no more than likely they're not gonna have your back. They're not gonna be able to take care of you, and y'all ain't gonna be able to do much if y'all go down the wrong path. You need to stay focused, and you know, keeping them focused on what their goals are, what they need to be learning. You know, me and my daughter just having this conversation yesterday or day before yesterday about, you know, what's next for in high school. You know, because she's just started high school. You know, she's getting into in band, or well, not really band. She's in color guard, and she's a dancer. So it's like, you know, she's got all this stuff going on, and then, you know, I'm like, you know, that's great. I was like, but you got to continue to look to the future, because, you know, just because you're starting this, there's something else you got to be prepared for next year, and then next year you got to be prepared for 11th grade, what you're gonna be doing there. She was like, oh yeah, I know I gotta be sending out college scholarship stuff in 11th grade. I was like, yeah. I was like, but in 10th grade, you need to know who you're going to be sending that stuff to. You need to know what you need to be doing to be prepared for that in terms of what requirements you're going to have, what programs you need to be doing, what different organizations you need to be a part of, because you can't wait till 11th grade and say, okay, I'm about to write these scholarship letters and send in these applications for college, and then they're going to hit you with, well, what have you done the last 3 years? You know what I mean? Or
Exactly.
what did you, there's so many things you got to keep focused on, you got to keep in mind, and, having a goal in mind and an ultimate, or ultimately knowing where you're going and how you're going to get there. That's what you got to keep in mind. And boys and girls aren't part of that. Out here sexing everybody up and all that other kind of stuff is not going to be part of that. So definitely making sure that our kids realize that they have other things they have to keep in mind. Is important.
Definitely. Good point. Got 10 minutes left. I want to fatherhood and daughters and how raising them. But as a father and as a man, always to be the best father you can be, you have to be the best person, health-wise and psychologically, that you can be. So I want to, before we close out the show, I want to just spend a couple minutes talking to the brothers about getting your health right, making sure you're there, doing what you can do, keep your health right, so you can be there for your child, and not just physically but mentally as well. Because especially black men, we don't talk about our mental health as much. You feel me? We need to find a space to where, a comfortable space to where we can share, because we've been taught to hold in so much pain, so much frustration, so much stress. You feel me? Hold back them tears. Sometimes we have to let it out. We have to find that space, either with friends or even within yourself. If you have to go to a counselor or a psychiatrist or whatever, therapist, whatever, do what you got to do. Find that space. You feel me? So you can release positively that frustration, that stress. You know what I mean? And also, of course, physically, stay active. Health is wealth. Movement is medicine. I get that from the brother, my brother Divine Allah here in Trenton. He does the exercise. He helps people exercising. He motivates me. I can't get out there and work with him all the time, but you're always sending me text messages letting me know they working out, which motivates me when I have time on my own to make sure I work out, exercise. Like I'm dealing with my own health issues. That's why this touch home for me as a father. I want to be there as long as I can to guide my daughter and watch her grow up. So, if anybody out there is going through some health issues, I know mentally it can be fatiguing. It could be your mind will play tricks on you. You feel like giving up someday. Don't. Go find that space to where you can release. Stay active. Don't give up. You feel me? Stay positive. Always think positive. Look for the silver lining in situations. Hard times befall us all. You feel me? Nobody's exempt from physical, physical issues, mental issues. Nobody's exempt. So don't think you're alone. Don't think you have to fight it alone and go through whatever you're going through alone. There's help out there. Go seek it. Love yourself enough to go seek it. Humble yourself enough to accept it. Accept help as well. You feel me? That's just something I wanted to touch on before we close out. I just wanted to say
Appreciate that, brother. That's Total facts right there. Definitely appreciate you saying that. Yeah, definitely look out for your health. Like you said, the one thing I keep in mind is that, I want to be around both physically and mentally, for my kids, being able to teach them and hang out with them and do things with them, spend time with them, being able to be a good example to them, of good physical health, good mental health. The one thing I always tell people is don't be afraid to get help. Don't be afraid to get therapy or counseling. Actually, I have family members who are counselors, who are therapists. Definitely seek that help if you need it. Don't feel like that there's anything wrong with it, because your stability depends on that, and if you find that something's getting unstable or that you need some guidance or whatever the case may be, it's best to go get that help, but and not end up in a bad situation that could have been prevented. So
your kids relying on you. You feel me? So if you
exactly.
Have a parent out there and you have kids are relying on you. Don't give up on yourself. Let your kids know that no matter what, you fight to the bitter end. But you fight to be the best version of you to the bitter end.
Yes, definitely. Well, looks like we're drawing close to the end of this show. Definitely been a great conversation, fellas. Definitely appreciate y'all giving your insights. Definitely looking forward to more good conversations like this in the future. I just want to remind the folks out there, if there's any topics you want us to delve into, to discuss, and definitely call into the show or tweet the show. We always are looking for good ideas, always looking to touch on the subjects and the subject matter that the people want to listen to. So definitely hit us up. Fellas, y'all want to go ahead and give out your information?
I'm done.
This your boy Clint, aka School. You can hit me up on Twitter at eTrentonGroovy609. Matter of fact, that's my Instagram. Snapchat is King's Truth. So, KingsTruth.com is my blog, poetry. I'll get back to my interviews. Check me out there.
All right, this your boy Willie Styles. Get at me at Willie Styles everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm Willie.Styles on Snapchat, which I rarely use, but get at me anyway. Maybe I'll start using it if people are actually on there. You can catch me at stylesradio.com, tweeting out or sharing links to different music that I'm digging. Definitely be on the lookout. I'm going to take over this show one of these days soon, and fill the airwaves with some new music out there, especially for some local artists and stuff. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Check us out every Thursday. We're here, but live on the show. But any day of the week you can catch our shows, our replays. blogtalkradio.com/GFT Radio Show, Google Play Music, YouTube, Apple iTunes Podcasts. Ask Google or ask Alexa to play our show. That's the GFT Radio Show podcast. Ask them to play, and they will play it. Always check us out on our website. GFTradioshow.com, YouTube. We're on YouTube as well. Check out our new promo video and get our merch. Teespring.com /GFT Radio. Buy some T-shirts, buy some sweatshirts, and always check us out here every Thursday at 10 p.m. Thanks again for joining the show, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. Hit on with it.
Yes. See y'all in 7 days.
Thanks again, Damon, for joining. Holla.
Yes, Damon. Appreciate you.
It's the two megastars summer mashup. The awesome iPhone on the Rockstar Metro PCS Network. Get the iPhone you've always wanted for $0, so you can jam without limits.
It's a hit. Get an iPhone SE on us when you switch. Metro PCS. Coverage not available in some areas, plus sales tax and $10 activation fee. Requires port-in of number not currently active on T-Mobile network or on Metro PCS in past 90 days to an unlimited LTE plan. See store for details and terms and conditions.
It's the two megastars summer mashup. The awesome iPhone on the Rockstar Metro PCS network. Get the iPhone you've always